Oh, what a marvelous time of year. The sun is shining amid the Cactus League. Yeah, a little golf, maybe a little poolside activities, and a whole lot of spring training baseball. We're about halfway through the Cactus League, and this afternoon, on a perfect afternoon, the Rockies and Dodgers get together. Welcome to gorgeous Scottsdale, Arizona, Spring Training 2013. The Rockies and Dodgers this afternoon from Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, and it is absolutely beautiful outside. Good afternoon, everybody. With my partner, George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. So much of the conversation, at least the last couple of weeks, has been about the weather down here. We know there's been some bad weather back at home, but rain. In fact, Friday after 4 innings was rained out, and today we have the weather we expect to have.
Absolutely, yeah. Beautiful day for baseball. It's kind of funny. I was upstairs having lunch with a lot of the scouts. They still didn't trust it. Still got the raincoats. Still bringing their heavy coats. You never know with the way things have gone in Arizona the last couple of weeks. But right now, beautiful.
I'm looking at that tarp over there. They needed instructions to get it out on the field on Friday. It doesn't come out too frequently. This afternoon, the Rockies will send Jeff Francis to the Hill. Second tour of duty, obviously, for Jeff. He was pretty solid last year, and so far this spring, he's been outstanding.
Well, I think the biggest thing with Jeff is he understands what he is now, and that's the biggest key. He's not a guy that's 88 to 92 anymore. He's 83 to 88. He needs to hit his spots, and he's done that early in camp. By far, he's throwing the ball better than anybody.
And he will be opposed this afternoon by a left-hander perhaps you've heard of as well. Clayton Kershaw will go for the Dodgers. When we return, we'll talk about that battle at third base between incumbent Chris Nelson and one of the top prospects in the game, Nolan Arenado. Cactus League Baseball 2013. And on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, the Rockies and Dodgers getting set. In a little more than 3 weeks, the Rockies will play game number 1 of the 2013 journey. It will be at Miller Park in Milwaukee against the Brew Crew. Back with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Yes, there's quite a battle at third base this year. Chris Nelson and Nolan Arenado. Arenado, a couple of more ribbies yesterday. He's gathered 10 already this season.
He has been very impressive as a young player coming to camp. Total different attitude, total different carry. But for Chris Nelson, this is a guy that hit 300 a year ago. 345 in his last 60-plus ball games. And I think you can't discount that coming out. This is another homegrown guy. When he got an opportunity to be in an RBI position, he produced RBIs. Got much better the last 45 days at a position he hadn't played a whole lot in third base. He was drafted as a shortstop. This young man, Nolan Arenado, what a transformation he has made this spring, not with the way he swings the bat, plays the field, but carry that he has had and what he's been able to accomplish on the field. It's been a very impressive spring for me with Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, he's hit 400. We talked about the RBIs, also 4 home runs, as you saw on the graphic. But let's not discount what Chris Nelson has done. He has been impressive also this spring. Good battle there. Should be a good battle on the field. Rockies and Dodgers come on back to Scottsdale with us. Cactus League Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your 7 neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. Pretty day at Salt River Fields. Always a sellout whenever the Rockies are playing or the Arizona Diamondbacks, the co-tenant here. And naturally, when the Dodgers are in action, you'll see some blue as well. Dodgers make their home over in Glendale. They share a facility with the Chicago White Sox called Camelback Ranch. There's Don Mattingly and Walt Weiss, 2 guys that competed against one another. Of course, Donnie was always in the American League. Walt played both leagues. Expectations off the charts for the very well-to-do now Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, they've reloaded their whole lineup, their pitching staff. They've got an excess of starters right now that they're trying to make an evaluation on. But Don Mattingly with an open checkbook, not worried about getting his contract extended, just worried about winning baseball games.
Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for the visiting Dodgers. This is the first time this year that the Dodgers will not utilize the DH as the Rockies make the rules in their home ballpark. D. Gordon will lead things off. Skip Schumacher, the former Cardinal, bats second. Matt Kemp looking for his first hit of the spring. He'll be in the 3-hole, the perennial MVP candidate. Former Rocky Juan Uribe next. Elian Herrera will bat fifth. A.J. Ellis, who had a great year in 2012 behind the plate. Alex Castellanos will be in right field. Former Rocky also, Alfredo Amezaga, will be in left field. And the ace of the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, will be on the hill. Jeff Francis has thrown 9 innings, George, this spring. He hasn't given up a run. He hasn't walked anybody.
Well, more than anybody in camp so far. As you look at last year's numbers, 6 and 7, 113 innings. He is what he is. He understands what he is. Not a lot of walks. He does have occasion to get up the long ball. But Jeff Francis, to me, is a guy that just understands Coors Field, understands what it takes to pitch there. He realizes I may give up 4, but this offense is going to score some runs. This spring, what Drew was talking about, big numbers. 3 ball games. He's thrown 9 innings so far. He's 1-0 and he struck out 5. Has yet to walk a batter. Hope I didn't jinx him in this ball game against the Dodgers, but it's a matter now for Jeff to hopefully get 5 innings in today.
Well, the Rockies were taking on that other team in Los Angeles yesterday over at Tempe Diablo, the LA Angels, and they had a lot of the big guns in the lineup. Mike Trout was in the lineup. Albert Pujols, who hit a home run. Josh Hamilton, the newest Angel in the Rockies, pounded out 18 hits, came from behind, and won 8-6 over the Angels. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. Brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's built Ford tough. Kyle Parker, #1 pick a couple of years ago out of Clemson. He's in left field. Dexter Fowler's in center. Michael Kadire, the starter in right. Henry Wrigley, minor league free agent signed. He'll be at first base. Josh Rutledge. DJ LeMahieu getting more time at shortstop. Chris Nelson at third. And the starting catcher, Willeen Rosario. Here we go. D. Gordon steps in. First pitch of the afternoon. A cut fastball on the outside corner for strike one. D. Gordon, if he hits it on the ground, you have to shorten up and get it out of your glove quickly. He could flat fly. Here's the 0-1 and a line drive at Wrigley. One out. Soft liner.
Well, you got to cheat in if you're the first baseman close to playing on the grass, so reaction's all about it. That ball in on the handle enough that easy for Wrigley to make a play on.
Mark Ellis will be the starting second baseman. Again, another guy who played for the Rockies and played well for the Rockies. For the Dodgers this year, as he was last year, Skip Schumacher will back up. And Schumacher's calling card has always been offense.
Well, a versatile guy, too. He can go to the outfield if you have to. The Dodger outfield's loaded up, obviously, but he's a guy that can go to the outfield, a veteran guy that's played on a lot of winning teams.
Well, if you're looking in today, and we appreciate that you are, one of the things to glance at is how quiet Willeen Rosario is behind the plate. Look for improvement there. We were talking to Jerry Weinstein yesterday, George, who works with the catchers at the big league level for the Rockies and is known as a catching guru. And they've given him a bigger glove, as this is an easy play for Josh Rutledge. He's working with a bigger glove. They've changed his stance a little bit, more squared up, and they really feel like he's quieted down behind the plate. And at least, again, so far, spring is what it is, but he's blocking the ball better.
He's slowing the game down. He's not trying to overreact to balls. I think that's the biggest key for Rosario. He's so energized and quick twitch type of player that sometimes would he overreact to where balls were thrown.
Great numbers for Matt Kemp last year. He's normally an Iron Man. He plays all 162. Only 106 last year because of the hamstring. And that's the first hit of the spring for Matt Kemp. We had a long conversation the other day with Adrian Gonzalez because Gonzalez had shoulder surgery at one point in his career, and Matt Kemp had shoulder surgery in the offseason. He ran into the Coors Field wall on August 27th, and he hit in the low 200s after that point. And he's just getting comfortable now, George, letting it go, because that's the bottom hand for him. The follow through torques that left shoulder.
No different than a guy with shoulder surgery as a pitcher, a Tommy John type situation. All of those type of things that you've got to fight through the discomfort before you can trust it.
Juan Uribe. He's had some very productive years in the big leagues, first with the Rockies. Notable moments with the San Francisco Giants. Last year was a disappointment. He hit beneath 200. He carries a pretty big price tag, but I don't know if there's a place for him, George, on this talent-laden Dodger club.
When you spend this kind of money to have success, you can also eat that kind of money on a release type situation. But I think with Uribe, they're going to play him as much as they can this spring to try to expose maybe a ball club that would have interest.
2 outs, Kemp at first. Here's the 1-1, and Juan, that big open swing, and it's 1-2.
He's always been a middle half in type of swing because he bails so bad with his front side. If you make a mistake on that inner half, he can hurt you. And it's the same hitter that's been around forever. Had a big season with San Francisco. That's why the Giants went out, the Dodgers went out and signed him. Ned Coletti had watched that performance when he got the GM job with the Dodgers. He is with the Giants at that time.
1-2, and he challenges him upstairs with a fastball. We've said it many times in watching Uribe hit in the big leagues, and he's had a terrific career. Not only would you not teach it, but as soon as you signed Juan Uribe, you do everything you can to get him even with his feet, but it's never worked out that way. He steps in the bucket. There's that quiet block by Willeen Rosario, and it's not just blocking the ball and keeping it out front, George. It's keeping it in the neighborhood so there can't be an advancement. If that went out front, but it went 6 feet out front, Matt Kemp's at second base.
Well, instead of being a hockey goalie, batting everything away, you want to receive it like your chest is a pillow. You want to deaden the baseball.
I like that phrase. You hadn't made a hockey reference in 3 years, dude.
25, actually. And I think, too, when you're catching a guy like Jeff Francis, you have an easier opportunity to react to the baseball.
And he changes speed, strikes out Uribe, and a very fine first frame for Jeff Francis. The lone blemish, single to Matt Kemp with 2 outs. We'll see the Rockies on 0 when we come back. That, of course, is Dexter Fowler. Dexter, at least initially today, will get some swings from the right side against the staff ace, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. Here's the Southwest batting order for Walt Weiss this afternoon. Josh Rutledge will follow up Dexter Fowler. Then Michael Cordero bat third. 28 home runs last year from Willeen Rosario in less than 400 at-bats. Chris Nelson 5, DJ LeMahieu 6, Henry Wrigley will bat 7th, Kyle Parker, and Jeff Francis. Clayton Kershaw, not only the ace of the Dodger staff, he is one of the premier pitchers in baseball. I mean, he is right near the top of a list that would include, of course, Justin Verlander and maybe a Matt Cain. This guy is just terrific. Second in the Cy Young last year. 2 years ago, he captured a Cy Young.
If you go back and look, starting in 2009, earned run average 2.79, 2.91. Cy Young year 2.28, and a year ago 2.53.
And this is going to drop in right center field for a base hit. So Dexter Fowler, a soft single to right, that will work. And that'll bring up Josh Rutledge. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively, brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's built Ford tough. Alfredo Amezaga will be in left field. He runs well. Matt Kemp, a terrific center fielder. Alex Castellanos will be in right field. Uribe's been playing a lot of first base, former left side infielder. Schumacher and Gordon up the middle. Elian Herrera, and starting catchers A.J. Ellis. Ball one. Fastball misses to Josh Rutledge. Rutledge hit 8 home runs in 73 ball games. Now, he tailed off the final month or so, but that coincided with a quad injury that really limited him. And that misses badly, 2-0. And maybe a little bit of mental and physical fatigue, George. First time playing a full 6 months.
No question. An extra month of a season just gets after you.
Boy, he is a good-looking young player. Hits the ball in the gaps, can hit it over the wall. He runs like the wind. Terrific athlete. 2 balls and a strike. Georgie, they say that Kershaw, and this is spring training, this is, again, one of the elite pitchers in the game. And I know he's still very young, but you know, the league so far in the spring's hit over 400 against him, and he's given up some runs. And they say he's hacked off at that, even though you get a mulligan when you're Clayton Kershaw to work on some things and whatever you're doing.
You still got an ego.
That's right.
You know, you don't like get beat up in spring training. You don't like coming out and going 2 innings, give up 5 runs, and say, oh, that's okay, you got your 40 pitches in. You get tired of that. And I think, you know, people said, well, he's a young kid. Are the innings going to come back and bite him because he's thrown an awful lot of innings over those last 3 or 4 years? And that ball goes into the seats. You look back, 204, 233, 222, a bunch of innings in 3 straight seasons, 177, not in a whole full season. So this young man's thrown a lot. Different innings. Is it going to have an effect? I just think, you know, for him, he's like, hey, it's time for me to pick back on you guys a little bit. I'm tired of getting beat up.
2-2 with Dexter Fowler, a leadoff single. He's at first base. Dexter takes off, ground ball that Kershaw grabs. He's got 1 play, and that's to first base. Well, the Rockies have Fowler moving, and now he's in scoring position with 1 out for Michael Kadire.
Hard thing for a pitcher to do at times when you go after a baseball like this with Fowler on the move is going down the downslope on the backside of the rubber. You have your footing, and then all of a sudden it starts to disappear out from underneath. Nice play by Kershaw.
And if it gets over his head, it's obviously an infield hit. Another guy for the Rockies who was unable to complete the season last year because of injuries. The Rockies, they led baseball in injuries. This ball's in the air to fairly deep center field. It'll stay in the park. Dexter will go back, tag up, and Matt Kemp records the second out. Kadire basically missed the final couple of months with an oblique injury.
Well, so much emphasis was put on Tulowitzki's missing so many games, as there should have been. Dodd missing a lot of games, Cargo missing a lot of games, that you got to the point where you almost forgot about Kadire, who was very productive when healthy.
So Aline Rosario steps in. He just kept getting better and better offensively. Finishes with a .270 average, 28 home runs, 398 at-bats last year. And he takes strike 1. Moline's got a couple of good mentors now, George, with the addition of Yorvi Torrealba to that spring training clubhouse, along with Ramon Hernandez. Of course, Ramon has been off playing for the WBC.
One of the biggest assets that Torrealba has brought in baseball throughout his career is the ability to work with pitchers working counts. And even though when he needs to get after him, he can get after him, but yet a very positive influence for pitchers, trusting, make them believe in the pitch they're about to throw in a ball game. He's rubbed that off on Moline, of saying you need to become their best friend. You need to become somebody that they turn to for advice and ask questions to.
And they locker next to each other. 1-2. Two and two. And a ground ball off the body of the third baseman Herrera, and the Rockies will have the first run of the ball game. And you got an in-between hop. We talk so frequently, George, when you play the hot corner, it's infrequent that you get to pick your hop. That was a difficult play. Topspin two-hopper.
Very difficult because of the guy at the plate, because there's so much power in the swing. This ball's hit harder than you actually think it is. You're also on the hard surfaces here in Arizona. They all look pretty, and they are very pretty, but it is a very hard surface. And then that ball takes that second hop and gains momentum. It just ate up Herrera.
Chris Nelson takes ball one. Well, they've given an error to the Rockies right now on the scoreboard. I don't think that would be a Rocky error. It would be
They'll get it
Dodgers.
right.
Yeah. And Nelson fouls that off 1-1. Yeah, it's hard to commit an error, George, when you're at the plate. Just missed inside. Mark Ripperger is our home plate umpire. Rockies and Dodgers will meet 18 times during the regular season. Dodgers won the last 4 outings against the Rockies last year to capture the season series. Where the Rockies had a dismal year. They were close with the Dodgers. They lost the season series 10-8 after losing those final 4. And Willeen just got picked off. Rockies get a run on the error by Herrera. Dexter Fowler scores it. 1-0 Colorado as we go to the second.
Act on the berm, that is the way you do spring training here at Salt River Fields. And the Rockies, they take an early lead 1-0 over the Dodgers as we head to the top of the second. Well, on Friday, we told you about the weekend of a lifetime that Troy Tulowitzki provided to 18 teenage cancer patients from Children's Hospital. Well, they already met Tulo, so today was just icing on the cake. The kids, they arrived at Salt River Field ready to meet and greet all of the Rockies players. And that they got the chance to do. Dexter provided smiles, handshakes, and autographs. And even this kid, Junior, he was one of my favorites. He got all the autographs that he could possibly get. He had his T-shirt, and then Jordan Pacheco showed him a little trick. Just put it on your back there. All the guys came by, gave him autographs on the back of his shirt, even had a ball. He had a ball. So I told him he won the test. But all the kids won because they walked away with a smile on their faces. So very nice of the Rockies this morning. And, of course, very nice, George and Drew, for Troy Tulowitzki to provide such an amazing weekend for these teams.
Absolutely. Jenny, thank you. Herrera hits fly ball to Dexter Fowler, one out very quickly for Jeff Francis. A.J. Ellis. And that's in there to A.J. You know, last year so much made of the fact that the Rockies went to a 75 pitch count for most of the season after the latter part of June. The one guy who navigated it really well and would pitch at least 5 typically, and sometimes into the 6th inning, using those pitches economically, was Jeff Francis.
Why do you think that happened?
Because he understands with his stuff that if I get it out early in a count, that's a good thing.
But he throws strikes.
Well,
he doesn't walk a ton of people.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's a veteran guy that says, hey, here it is, hit it, give up my runs early, and then I'll be fine.
And the minute we brag,
first walk of the spring.
Well, you jinxed him.
Well, that's okay. I'll assume it. I'll take full responsibility.
That is his first walk of the spring. Welcome, everybody. Pull these shades off.
Yeah.
Jeff Houston's with us. Jeff, how you doing?
It's great to watch a ball game without dodging raindrops the last couple of days. And I know people back in
this, by the way.
Well, I know, but I'd be prepared, right, George? Isn't
That's
that
right.
the 5 Ps?
That's right, buddy. See, you remember those.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. It's just nice to see a full house out here today. People out on the grass enjoying the day. You get the Dodgers in town. Clayton Kershaw making a start today and going to hit for the Dodgers. They've used the DH up to this point. It's a beautiful day down
It's
here.
perfect, and it's amazing the weather that's gone through the desert the last few weeks. Snow, torrential downpour. Castellanos pops it up short right field. Kadire will make the catch. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Alfredo Amezaga. Dodgers have, Huey, some versatile guys in camp. The kid who led off the inning, Elian Herrera, can play virtually everywhere. Alfredo Amezaga, as we know, can play literally everywhere.
Well, and it goes back to how you construct your lineup and your roster for a National League ball club when you have the double switches that you're going to have to do, and who's going to play third base for them. Is it going to be Cruz, or who's it going to be? And then you have to have a guy like an Amezaga or somebody else that can fill in those slots when he doesn't start. And Ramirez, is he going to be able to go out there every single day? Those are the type of things that Don Mattingly wants to look at in these games. And that's why you see guys in different positions sometimes that you might not normally see during the course of a season.
Now their super utility guy will be Jerry Hairston. Jerry's not involved today. You know, Jerry can play a lot of places. Schumacher has versatility because of his ability to play the outfield, second base. And they really like Herrera also. And he has shown up well this spring. High fly ball to left field. Kyle Parker started back, now just waiting. And it's another strong inning for Jeff Francis. Middle of 2, the Rockies have the only run. brought to you by the region's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, your local consumer-owned electric cooperative, delivering reliable power, energy-saving tools, and more. Learn more by visiting togetherwesave.com. Last year's closer will be this year's closer, Rafael Betancourt. He saved 31 ball games in 2012 and is off to a solid start this spring. Won't see him today. Behind Jeff Francis, we'll see Danny Rosenbaum, who's a Rule 5 guy who is similar to Jeff Francis, kind of a soft-tossing lefty control guy. Matt Belisle figures to get an inning today. Edgemar Escalona as well, maybe even Joe Gardner, who was down in Tulsa last year, sidewinding right-hander who was part of the Ubaldo Jimenez trade from a couple seasons back. Chris Nelson will get another look at Clayton Kershaw. He was at the plate when Willeen Rosario got picked off. Jeff Houston, former instructor in the Cubs organization after a decade plus in the big league. So where was Willeen going there?
I'm not sure. That's one of those ones that you ask him, and sometimes even the player doesn't know what happened. What did I just do?
Yeah, you got a lefty out there.
You're not going to probably steal a base unless you just go first movement, and then you're not going to be going back to first.
Yeah, that's where you latch. You walk dugout and go, I don't know, Skip.
Yep.
Just sit down.
Yep, my bad.
I wasn't running. I was way back over here.
I got locked up. I just got locked up.
Better that happens on March 10th than April 10th.
And I think almost every person at first base at one time or another during the course of their career.
He's still describing how he got picked off.
I got picked off, yeah. It happens. What are you going to do?
Right.
It was a balk move.
Nah, it wasn't. I just got picked off.
Yeah.
Hey, while I got you, and we'll discuss this during the regular season, both you guys, and George, you obviously pitched. I don't like the fact that Major League Baseball's taken away the third to first move, and I would think as a pitcher you not very fond of that.
I don't know why they took it away, to be honest.
What
it makes no sense
that?
in my estimation, other than it stops people from yelling balk
in the crowd.
In the stands.
In the stands, yeah.
Yeah. But you and I were talking about it off air the other day, Drew, that third to first move as a base runner now at first base, I'm sitting there, that's completely out of the back of my mind.
Just look at the heels now. You don't have to worry about the bluff.
Heel. If the heel doesn't come up, he's going home, so you take off right then. You don't have to worry about the bluff, because once in a blue moon it does happen that somebody gets picked off. But it makes no sense you take that weapon away from a right-hander.
DJ LeMahieu hits it on the ground to Schumacher, 2 outs.
We have 415 games pitched at the big league level. I picked one guy off, Jesse Barfield, with the first to third thing. It was Sunday afternoon, bright sun, lights. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know why he took off at first, but I did get him. So there's 414 other games I probably tried it and it didn't work. I just don't know why they got rid of it.
2 outs, nobody on. Henry Wrigley. Last year in Tampa's organization, hit 13 home runs in AAA. Yeah, there's cities. You guys both played for a while in the minor leagues. There are legendary cities and legendary minor league ballparks, and one of them is if you play from the Durham Bulls.
Never made that one.
No, I never played in that ballpark. Daytona Beach is Jackie Robinson Stadium.
And that's been around for a long time.
Yes, I think they still have the same lights from when Jackie played.
I thought I read this year they were going to renovate that stadium and do some things to it. The Jackie Robinson Stadium, do some work down there to change it around a little bit.
That's the Cubs with the Florida State League. Yeah, playing Daytona Beach. How far is that from the water?
It's right off the intercoastal. It's just intercoastal and then some houses or condos or whatever, and then the ocean. So it's not more than a couple miles.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. Clayton Kershaw to Henry Wrigley. And that, you know what? There's 2 guys who thought that was strike 3. Kershaw and Wrigley. Ripperger, the home plate umpire, did not, though.
Wrigley might have thought so, too.
Yeah, watch him. He's walking off. I'm leaving.
We're done. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I didn't hear strike 3. I'm still up.
Wow.
Now hit a bomb or a base hit to right.
He had to swing as soon as Kershaw started his motion and the ball was coming out of his hand.
What's the big deal about this guy?
Elevated fastball, 3-2 count. I'm hacking the balls away from me. That's ball 4. It's not a strike, not even close to the strike zone.
No. After the last one, George, that would have been, he would have been rung up had he not hacked that.
Yeah. You know, a big guy like that's tall and an upright stance, likes an elevated ball to get on top of it. Did a good job with it.
Now here's a kid who's well thought of. #1 pick for the Rockies a couple years ago out of Clemson. 2 sports star, great quarterback in the ACC. He does not get cheated. I mean, I said this to Dante today because Dante loves to play tennis, talking about Bichette. And I said, you were throwing a Parker for a while yesterday in the hitting cages, and we were looking on. I said, he reminds me of Monica Seles, man. He grunts after every swing.
Well, it's fun to see guys that are starting to learn their swing and what's involved with it and how you approach each and every day. But part of the joy of being that young and that strong is swinging from your heels sometimes.
If you can swing that hard like you did on that first pitch, yet look very controlled, you're going to get pretty good results. Now, if you're swinging as hard as you can, your head's in the dugout, it doesn't work very well.
Spinning and falling on the ground.
No, that was a pretty controlled, very aggressive bat speed.
Had the hook dropped on him. It's a 1-2 count. And strike 3. Came back with about 94 miles an hour. So Parker is gone. Wrigley left at first base. Rockies up 1-0 off to the 3rd.
It is a beautiful Sunday to be at the ballpark. No better place than spring training, soaking up the sun with the Rockies lead over the Dodgers 1-0 as we head to the top of the 3rd. Well, baseball players are all about baseball during spring training, but last night here in Scottsdale, Arizona, some MLB players stepped away from the field and onto the big stage, and it was all for a good cause. You may recognize a few of these faces: Giants Barry Zito and former Rocky Houston Street, now Padre. They jammed out with musician Kelly James. It was all for Strikeouts for Troops. That's Zito's foundation that provides some service and assistance to injured servicemen and their family. It was a great cause and a great time at the W Hotel last night. No Rockies showed up to perform on stage, but Houston Street did tell me he thought Troy Tulowitzki may make a great boy band member. I don't know. What do you guys think up there?
Pass.
You know, George is an expert on boy bands, so.
I am.
Oh, you're a big Bieber fan. I know that.
I am. Yes.
See?
Who?
That'd be I know our next guest actually has been to several of Justin Bieber's concerts.
I don't think he has.
1 and 2 is the count. Now it's now 1 and 3. And when you get to 1 and 3, you're gone. So Clayton Kershaw's gone. Bill Guyvet, who's director of Major League Operations, joins us. Guyvo, how are you?
I'm not a boy band fan.
No?
No.
But you're Bieber guy.
Well, everybody is.
Yeah. See, Beeps fainted the other day. That's a story for a different program. Now.
Yeah, I hope so.
I can't get his channel on my tractor. I never heard his songs, but go ahead.
Yeah, how you been? Doing well?
Good. We've been doing great. Some weather we've been dealing with, but other than that, we've been doing well.
That probably the weather affects the pitching more than it does really anything. You try to schedule it out.
It does, but you know what? It's at a good time in camp. I think we've been on the field a lot, and for the guys to get a break off their feet, I think it's always good. It's a nice little break for us.
And D. Gordon, a line drive right at DJ LeMahieu. It's nice when your shortstop, your number one shortstop, 6'3", and then you're getting some time for LeMahieu. He's 6'4". It's hard to hit those line drives over him, huh?
We've got some extra large middle infielders, that's for sure. But we're pretty fortunate, and a number of guys have really played well. And Tulo's been working his way back into the lineup, and playing just a little bit, kind of building up, and it's been nice for the other guys to get some more time.
That's a nice segue you handed me there. You put that on the tee for me, Gavo.
I'm trying to help out.
I understand, because Tulo yesterday had quite a day over at Tempe Diablo. A double his first at bat, a long home run his next at bat. And, of course, I kidded him today. I said, 3 ABs, and you got to shut it down for a couple days, huh?
Yeah, and a nice little pirouette on a double play, which that really, for us to see him defensively has been what's nice. For him to go out there and make all the plays defensively. I still think he's kind of rounding into shape, but at the same time, we like what we see.
Got to like what you've seen so far from Jeff Francis. Another 1-2-3 inning for Jeff. Middle of inning number 3, 1-0 Colorado. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Rockies up 1-0 on Los Angeles. Rockies fans, Root Sports is bringing you more spring training games later on this month. Tune in on the 24th of March when the Rockies will take on Milwaukee at 2 p.m. as the team prepares for opening day, which will also be against the Brewers, Miller Park on April 1st. Jeff Francis takes a strike from Clayton Kershaw. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Jenny Cavnar. Bill Guyvette, Director of Major League Operations, joins us. And swing and a miss. It's 0-2. What are your thoughts so far on Nolan Arenado? He swung the bat great. A couple more ribbies yesterday.
Drew, he's swung the bat well. He's played very good defense as well. And after last spring, where Nolan really tried to force his way into the picture at the big league level, I think he learned a lot from that last year. And things kind of went tumbling down on him. And to watch him this year, just even coming into camp, you could tell he was a lot more mature about his opportunity to impress in spring training. And, we really look forward to seeing him because we figured it would be big things. And Tulo had told me he worked out with him in the wintertime and how good that went. And to come in here now and watch him hit, I think he's got 4 homers and has played exceptional defense. Has started a triple play one game, and all of his chances, whether it's been in the field or at home plate, he's done extremely well.
Jeff Francis battling away against Clayton Kershaw. And he fouls off another pitch. Jorge De La Rosa, we were on the tube on Friday, and of course the game only went 4 innings. It was miserable conditions. But the good news that came out of that abbreviated ball game, Jorge De La Rosa, a little sketchy in the first, but then the command came back, which you wanted to see him take a nice little step.
Yeah, and even though George had a couple starts at the end of last year, there's still some ring rust there with both him and Juan Nicasio. And for them to get out there this spring, and I think we'll see progress as they go. Certainly George, from his last start to this one here, we saw a lot of progress as his outing went on. And, you know, it was great for us to get that game in. I know they wanted to have Guthrie pitch, but for us as well to have George go out there and get his innings in was the biggest part of that game.
And the curveball misses.
Fifth spot, still a big battle going on. A lot of guys looking at it. And it's nice to have the battles.
You know, it is. And Drew Pomerantz has thrown very well, and Chatwood has thrown well, and Volstad's in the picture. So it's definitely one that, you know, we're at the beginning part or middle part of spring, and we still have some games to go as pitchers are getting stretched out, George. So we'll see how that all unfolds. And right now, and whether it's, you know, we're talking about position players or pitchers, things will kind of start sorting themselves out here in the next probably 10 days or so. But it's definitely time to start watching. I think the players have been on the field enough, and they're starting to get their feet underneath them, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think, too, the last 2 weeks of spring training, as we've said in the past, the boys start showing up. In other words, Matt Cain's 2-0 slider starts showing up. You know, you get Kershaw's 3-2 curveball. You're not getting that I'm getting my 40-pitch work in. They're getting ready to come up and beat you on April 1st, you know. So that can really be a telling sign for evaluation for all of you also.
It is. I've always thought that once you get past the 20th of March and you start getting in the 20s, you see all the relievers and pitchers throwing like they can throw during the regular season. And the guys swinging the bat are definitely they have more intent on what they're trying to do at the plate and not just trying to get their work in like you see during these early games.
You know, the biggest thing, I'm going to go back to Nolan real quick. The biggest difference I've seen him into this spring, there were so many publications last year that was telling the Rockies he's made your team. And I think you start to read those headlines. You start to feel those headlines. This year I saw a guy come in hungry. You know, he came in. I'm going to show some people what the real Nolan Arenado is. I saw at Tulsa the last 45 games of what he did there. And then I see that this spring, too, in the carryover. But it's not so much what he's doing on the field and everywhere else. It's how he's carrying himself and playing the game. He's a hungry player to prove people he can play.
Guy Vogt, we appreciate it. Tommy needs you over there next door.
Yeah, Lasorda, I think he wants second round of lunch.
Hey everybody, this is Jordan Pacheco with the Colorado Rockies. I want to give a shout out to all our fans in my home state of New Mexico. Thanks for watching Rockies baseball on Root Sports.
Jordan Pacheco, a product of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We got a chance to join him this offseason, see all the things he does to train just to get ready for spring training. He, of course, gets some basketball games. An avid Lobo fan, I guess you're allowed to be when you go to the University of New Mexico. With that, why don't we join Jordan Pacheco? We guys watch some baseball action. It's been a fun spring training so far for Jordan. Hitting .429 at just 21 at bats. Is it time that you can kind of tell your swing's coming back around? Are you getting in a groove where you feel like just a couple weeks away you'll be ready for regular season baseball?
I don't know yet. Still got a while. Still got a little time here to get everything intact. But the team's looking good right now. Our pitch is looking right where it needs to be, and the team's looking good. So
today kind of a scheduled off day for you, but what's the importance of you being here, especially when you guys are playing an NL West team and the Dodgers? Can you pick up some things in watching Clayton Kershaw today, do a little scouting?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anytime you get to watch somebody like that pitch, and especially like our guys, watch Jeff pitch and just watch our team play, I feel you always could learn something, and that's why all these guys are in the dugout, especially the young guys, and we just try to take as much in as we can.
I assume with a new staff, the first couple weeks are kind of just getting to know everyone, getting to know your hitting coach and Dante Bichette, your new manager, and Walt Weiss. Where are things at with the chemistry right now between the coaching staff and the players?
It's good. It's good. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's right where they need to be. I think all the pieces are where they should be right now, and now we just got to go out there and play and win ball games.
We know you've been working on catching some of those pitchers. You talked about the pitchers playing well. What do you think is the biggest strength right now, especially of that starting rotation, and what maybe are some things that you guys are really trying to work on and hone in as the rest of March continues on?
I think just the things that we talked about in early spring training, just keep the ball down and throw strikes, and just have a competitive, at-bat or pitch to at-bat right there. And every pitch is competitive, and throwing strikes and staying down the zone, getting outs.
All right, before I let you go, it is college basketball season, and I hate to do this as a Colorado State alum, but I owe Jordan a bet. New Mexico beat Colorado State twice this year, so I'm going to let you hold the microphone for me, and I have to do the New Mexico chant, so here it goes. Just make sure I'm doing it right. Can I roll my eyes while I do it? Everyone's a Lobo, woof, woof, woof. Did I do that with enough enthusiasm? All right, guys, with that, I'll also say I'm proud to be a CSU Ram, and I'll send it back to you.
You know what? Listen. You did that with very little enthusiasm, to be frank. However, it's been a banner year for the Mountain West Conference, and we celebrate that.
Absolutely. We celebrate that. Great basketball that we had on Root Sports, and Drew, I know you and I had a lot of fun in partaking in that. So we'll go Mountain West today. We'll go Mountain West. How is that?
Listen, New Mexico is going to be a tough out in the tournament. Colorado State's going to be a tough out in the tournament. Boise hopefully will get in. Vegas has had a solid year. San Diego State, Air Force, a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, Las Vegas may be the place to be next week for the Mountain West tournament. And the WAC tournament's there, and the Pac-12 tournament. We got a lot of Colorado schools that have an opportunity to do really well and represent. I know there's a lot of guys in the locker room here that are rooting for some of those Mountain West schools. Yorvit Torrealba, huge Colorado State fan, just going to throw that out, and I'll leave on that.
Yeah, Yorvit, that's right. He's always wearing the green and gold. By the way, very quickly, again, if we could show Jenny.
Yes, sir.
Nice hairdo, Lib.
Hey, thanks.
Is
that all you're showing?
We noticed.
Do you want to see the bun? Is that what you wanted to see?
Oh, look at that. That's special.
Compliments of our stylist, Tiffany. It's great.
I was thinking of going with the bun.
I know,
today,
I know.
They said only.
I'll teach you how to do it. Don't you worry. We'll get you some hairspray and maybe a little more.
What?
What's the matter, George? Why are you looking at me?
Never mind.
Yeah.
Jeff Francis doing a pretty good job. We got the walk to Kemp, got a double play turn. Tough play for DJ LeMahieu at shortstop. First walk of the spring that Jeff allowed was this man right here, A.J. Ellis.
And that just missed. Herrera got the infield hit after Uribe hit the sharp ground ball. Started a 6-4-3 double play. Nice job by DJ LeMahieu. I was talking to Walt Weiss about DJ. He's just such a pro. We've seen him at second and third. He's getting reps at short this spring. And he's comfortable there, George.
He is comfortable there. This guy played middle infield in college. I mean, he's an athlete. He can play different positions. I think that's his versatility, plus swinging the bat so well, but he got second, short, third. He can play first if you need him to. It's one thing about the Rockies' middle infield players, like Rutledge, LeMahieu, Nelson, could go over and play a little bit of second base for you if he needs for. Johnny Herrera. They've got a lot of versatility among numerous guys. And it's going to really have a lot of competition in what happens with this ball club.
And Charlie Culberson swung the bat well yesterday.
2 nice plays in the field yesterday.
Yeah, playing second base. 3-0's in there, 3-1.
Not very many pitches for Jeff Francis. See what he's been able to do. 48 pitches. You're in the 4th inning, 2 outs.
Yeah, he had 36 pitches through the first 3 innings. So this has been so far another very good outing for Jeff Francis. Willian Rosario off camera, stepping out in front of the plate, as is the job of the catcher, to alert everybody that it's a 3-2 count and that the runner will be moving. The first baseman lets the pitcher know he's going to move behind. Wrigley, in this case, telling Francis that. And look out. Boy, what an unbelievable crowd. This is literally a standing room only crowd. I'm looking out on the berm, George. No place to throw your blankie today. And the concourse is filled up in the outfield.
Sun's shining. It's a good day for baseball. It hadn't been overcast skies, cold, 45 degrees with rain. But it is a beautiful day. It's the Dodgers. It's the Rockies. Why wouldn't you want to be at a yard today?
This is in the air to center field. Dexter Fowler backpedaling, waiting. He's got it. A.J. Ellis retired. And the Rockies, Jeff Francis. Oh, Jenny's doing the New Mexico Lobo cheer to break. Cactus League Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's not just a truck, it's an F-150, and it's built Ford tough. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live boss. Well, nothing Colorado, bottom of the 4th inning. Clayton Kershaw still out there for Los Angeles. Michael Kadire, Willian Rosario, Chris Nelson, 3, 4, and 5. And Walt Weiss's Sunday spring training lineup. Mentioned earlier, Tulowitzki got 3 at-bats yesterday over in Tempe against the Angels, a double and a home run. Eric Young Jr., 3 more hits, George. He brings a toughness to the ballpark every day, and offensively, he has game-changing speed.
Well, no question. You're absolutely right.
I mean, he had a line drive base hit, but then he had a bunt single and an infield hit.
what has been impressive, too, is all the other areas of the game that he's had to put the time in, done what he's had to do to improve on that.
3 balls and a strike on Kadire. EY is not going to participate today on the field. He'll get his work in. Saw him earlier, in fact, in the morning. Willeen Rosario coming up with Kadire at first.
Well, all the fans, April the 5th will receive a Rockies 2013 magnet schedule courtesy of King Soopers. So make sure you're out to the ballpark for that on Friday when the Padres are in town.
Willeen breaks his bat, hits it to third, and that's going to turn into a 5-4-3 double play started by Ilian Herrera. Chris Nelson, he bounced to short his first time up. Inside, ball 1. Dante Bichette was telling me around the cage this morning that he believes that Nelson has the ability to hit 20-25 home runs in a season.
Strong player, very strong, and has gotten much stronger than what he has had even in the past. Plus, just believing you can do it. And I'm not really, to be honest, where he's going to probably have to hit in your lineup. The 20-25 are nice, but I looked at when you put him in that 6, 7, 8 area in there in the lineup, the guy all of a sudden comes out and he drives in 53 runs. You get 53, 55 runs out of your 7, 8 hole. That's pretty good production because you don't have a whole lot out on you.
The Rockies should have pop up and down their lineup. Even at the top of the lineup, George, when Dexter's sitting up there, Dexter has the ability, 13 last year, to hit, 15 home runs in that neighborhood. Josh Rutledge is hitting in the 2-hole. He has the ability to leave the yard. He had 8 in just a couple months of action. And Nelson, the second man to draw a walk against Clayton Kershaw here in the 4th inning. That'll bring up DJ LeMahieu. Have auto glass damage? Call Safelite Auto Glass, America's vehicle glass experts, at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. DJ, a sharp ground ball to second in the 2nd inning. And that's too tall, even for the 6'4" LeMahieu, a native of Michigan. Still lives there in the offseason. Played at LSU collegiately.
Yeah, a lot of players, a lot of them will stay in the hometown of where they're playing, but a lot of guys, too, like to get away from it, go home, get familiar surroundings, guys that have worked with you maybe in the past, whether it's a high school coach or whatever it may be, to help get yourself in a position.
What's Doogie doing there with Michael Kadire?
Put a little wrap on that after that slide into second, maybe. Not sure.
Doesn't look serious. And Kadire's going to play the game right.
Strawberry.
And I have a feeling going into second, breaking up that double play may have gotten scraped up a little bit. Yep. You can just tell the tricep came down hard on that dirt. Johnny and his crew, George, have done an amazing job because there was standing water on most of the fields here at Salt River Fields. And his crew got everything in working order today. The minor leagues out on the backfields today. That's a strike. 2-2. Just 4 combined hits in the game. 2 for Los Angeles, 2 for the Rockies. Rockies got an unearned run in the first. 3-2 on LeMahieu, so Chris Nelson will take off. Kershaw, and at this stage of spring training, maybe showing some signs of fatigue.
You start to feel a little bit of that way. I mean, that's just kind of one of those deals where, you know, as you get farther into it, a little mechanics get out of whack a little bit. You don't get the extension you normally get, but he threw that one pretty well. Good velocity, elevated fastball, and a strikeout.
Second strikeout for Kershaw as he gets LeMahieu. 1-0 Colorado off to the 5th. Bottom of the order for Los Angeles. Alex Castellanos will lead things off. He takes a breaking ball for a strike, and our pleasure to welcome the Rockies' new skipper to our airwaves. Walt Weiss joins us with the headset on. Walter, how you doing, bud?
Doing good, Goody.
I'll tell you what, Jeff has looked like it's July since you handed him the baseball in late February, huh?
Yeah, he's been sharp. It's been this way every outing so far this spring. Well, as soon as I say that, it gives up a leadoff single. But he's just been great. Command's been outstanding. Changeup has been very good. So it's typical Jeff Francis stuff.
And you know what? It's got to be great to have a guy like Jeff, because he's been around the block. He's had success at Coors Field to help mentor some of the younger pitchers that you have in camp.
Yeah, absolutely. He certainly brings some stability and a track record to our staff, and a lot of wisdom, like you said. He's been great with our younger guys in camp, and that's part of who he is now. He's the veteran of the staff, so and he takes that responsibility seriously.
And we're watching today. I mean, he's getting the 5th inning right now. You're getting to that point in spring, and in what, another 4 or 5 days, you start to extend the position players deeper into games.
Yeah, we'll start to do that, Frage. We'll start to extend our guys, and the last couple of weeks really gearing toward being ready when the bell rings. So that'll be the plan.
Good pitch on a Meziga. How you doing? Are you having fun? I mean, you've been in a major league uniform most of your life, it seems like, and now you're in a different role. Are you enjoying it so far?
I am enjoying it. Of course, the bullets hadn't started flying yet. I think this is the easy part, spring training. But you know, I've been impressed with our guys, the way they've shown up this spring, and the way they're playing the game. I'm more concerned about the process than the actual results, and the process so far has been good.
How hard is it now? I mean, you've been a special assistant for a long time. You walked around, gave your advice. But now, what's the hardest part of your job that you seem to find here in these first month and a half as being manager of a ball club?
Well, I think the players probably see me a little bit differently. You know, now when I'm coming down the hall, they usually turn and go the other way. You know, that wasn't the case when I was a special assistant. But no, it's been real good. I think the guys have embraced our message so far this spring, and I could still be myself and have a good time with these guys. But as a manager, you have a lot more responsibility. So my days are a lot busier than they used to be, but I'm enjoying it. In the end, it's baseball, and we're trying to win games, and that's what I love.
And does it make it easier? You got an old teammate like Dante there, a coach that worked with you, and you were a player, and Renee sitting there with you.
It does help. It does help. You know, Dante and I, we find ourselves already this spring. We sit around for a while after the games, and we tell a lot of lies about our careers.
They're not lies. You guys are good players.
Well, you know. It's been great having Dante around. He's connected very well with our hitters. You know, and Latch is Latch. He's one of a kind. I spent 6 years with him in Oakland. He managed me in Florida, so we got a lot of history together. And the staff's been great. Tommy's done a great job putting his camp together, coordinating it. So yeah, it's been great so far.
Meziga with a hit-and-run base hit, first and third, nobody out. Kershaw will hit here in the fifth inning. Speaking of old friends and old teammates, you know you're getting up there a little bit in years when one of your old teammates has a kid who's a pretty productive player. Of course, we're talking about EY Jr., and you and I were visiting about him this morning. Speed doesn't have a bad day, does it?
No, he really does impact the game, and he knows who he is as a player, and he takes pride in it. And, you know, he relishes going out there and disrupting the opposition. So he's put himself in a real good place with us, Junior has. I mean, like I said, he impacts the game, and that's what we're looking for.
Hey, we're going to let you get back to the main job of managing your club. Walt, it's great visiting with you. Thanks for popping the headset on for a few moments.
All right, thanks, Goody. Thanks, Frazier.
All right, buddy.
Walt Weiss. And there is a comfort level, George, that, and I'm glad you pointed that out. You know, he's got Dante. He's got a guy he knows exceptionally well in Renee Latchman. And it's not like he's foreign to the organization. He worked for the organization as a special assistant to Dan O'Dowd for a number of years. So there was that comfort level to begin with.
Well, I think the key, and here we got first and third with Jeff right now, and no outs. So, you know, things starting to heat up a little bit down in the bullpen. Oh, that's my son throwing. But the thing I looked at times, Drew, and could see different things happening, is you got a guy you turn to in Renee that's managed. He's worked people. He's done things with people. That's the thing I see. You know, I got a guy I can turn to that's answered the press, that's answered to players when they're disappointed, upset, how to handle their attitudes and egos to make them what they are today. I think those are some of the things that they bring to the table, if that makes sense. You know, and Dante's still a young kid at heart. I don't care what anybody else says. The guy loves the game of baseball.
Yeah, that fits right in. I mean, Dante's personality, the toughness that Walt Weiss brings, and that's a base hit for Kershaw. That's going to tie up the baseball game as Castellanos scores, and that's the first run allowed in spring training 2013 for Jeff Francis after 13 shutout innings. And we saw a moment ago Parker Frazier is getting loose, and you know, his job today, talking about Parker, is that, you know, if somebody got in trouble in the middle of an inning, rather than bring in the next guy who's slotted to throw, he'd finish that inning, and then you move on to a Rosenbaum or whatever. And that's the situation right now with Jeff, is the first three have reached here in the fifth inning.
Well, and you got nobody out. I mean, it's one of those deals where you either go to Parker, you go to Rosenbaum. He's up throwing again right now, too, if you want to do the left-right. But, yeah, you're in a backup role. You're here to get out of an inning. You're done. You may throw to one pitch. You may throw to 3 or 4 pitches.
D. Gordon, not exactly a double play candidate. And D tried to drag a bunt. Kershaw who had that good at bat against Francis, that's not a surprise. Kershaw is one of the better hitting pitchers in the National League. Dodger staff as a whole was miserable swinging the bat last year, but Kershaw hit 207, and if he's asked to get a bunt down, he typically does. Good athlete. 3 straight singles have tied up this baseball game for the Dodgers here in the 5th.
Jeff, right now, 62 pitches. Make that 63 in the ball game, which you'd like probably today was more of a 75 pitch type day. That's what we're going to look at today. Daniel Rosenbaum, Matt Bilal, Escalona, Gardner were supposed to pitch in this ball game. Frazier's backing up, so he's warming up now to try to get out of this inning.
And again, even though you see Rosenbaum, he's getting loose because he's a starting pitcher, George. This is sharply hit to Wrigley. Good play. Nice throw to second. And they almost turned it over. You know, George, we don't know a lot about Wrigley. I was really impressed with that. He picked that nicely, and that was a terrific feed to DJ LeMahieu.
Well, the thing is, the important part of that turn of a double play is the footwork. Because if you don't have quick feet to get in a position to make this throw, watch how he plants on that back foot so he can get something behind the baseball. A good exchange by LeMahieu and on to first base.
But anyhow, Rosenbaum's getting ready for the next inning. Because as a starting pitcher, I mean, you were a reliever, 8 bullets or whatever you needed, 12,
right,
and you're ready to go. Rosenbaum's going to take more time.
Absolutely will. I mean, and he's been a starter his whole career.
Skip Schumacher at the plate. Matt Kemp's on deck, 1 out. Now Jeff's gotten him twice on ground balls to Josh Rutledge. That would work well here. A better opportunity to turn to a Schumacher than you do D. Gordon.
Hey, don't forget about the Yankees coming to the ballpark. They'll be there May 7th through the 9th, so get your tickets for the Yankees series. Another quick reminder, May 7th through the 9th.
Good speed at third in Amezaga, and D. Gordon always a threat to go. That was a wise decision, I think, by Francis. Gordon got an extra half step there on that lead. There he goes, and a base hit to left. So the Dodgers take a 2-1 lead as Amezaga crosses home plate. And as we talked about Kershaw fatiguing a little bit last inning, perhaps that's the case right now with Jeff Francis.
Now, I'm sure it is. Walt looking at it, I got Frazier warmed up, a right-hander, but I also got Matt Kemp at the plate. You know, I don't want to put a youngster in that position, but you don't want Jeff to compete. It's just spring training, I understand, but I think this is a deal where, you got to protect your starter when you got 65, 70 pitches in this way, and Walt's going to make a move here. He will go to the right-hander, so the youngster gets to come into a ball game and face Matt Kemp. You better have good command with this guy.
Well, Parker Strain's getting ground balls, and that's what Walt's looking at here. And more importantly, it's about getting work in. And for Jeff Francis, he got his work in today. 4 hits given up in the 5th inning, but he was terrific up until this 5th inning.
Very good.
All in all, it was a solid outing again for Jeff Francis. So we'll walk him off. Parker Frazier comes on. He'll inherit a couple of runners on. Matt Kemp coming to the plate. 2-1 LA. 1 out in the 5th inning when we return. camp for the former 8th-round pick a few years back of the Colorado Rockies, the son of my partner, George. This is Parker Frazier.
Yeah, last year, 27 games started at Tulsa, record 5-14, but an earned run average of 388. Led the Texas League in innings pitched with 167. The Rockies looking at him as a 5th, 6th, 7th inning guy to come in this situation here and just stop the bleeding. Get out of an inning, get a double play ball. He's got 1 out, 2 right-handers coming in. Sinker will be 88 to 92, 93 at times, and he's got a decent slider to go along with that. I think what he's learning more than anything is the nuances of warming up coming into these situations. He's never worked out of the bullpen consistently for a season. So it's a big learning experience, and it has been one for him. He's had struggles in spring training at times.
So here's Matt Kemp. The old welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to face him sometime, right? Whether it's now or September or whenever it might be. You got to come in and face these guys, so you may as well get ready to do it now. Okie versus Okie.
That's right, because Parker grew up in Tulsa, and Matt Kemp, a big basketball, baseball star over in Oklahoma City. And that just missed off the inside corner, ball 1.
See, and I think the big thing, too, is one thing Gaylord Perry taught me, Goose Gossage taught me. You're coming out of the bullpen, have that one pitch. You have confidence. It's slider, whatever it is. Throw it for strike 1. Missed down with the sinker on the first offering to Kemp.
And a ground ball. That's what he wanted, but it snuck through the left side. D. Gordon is coming home. The throw goes through from Kyle Parker. It's on line, but Gordon outran the baseball. So it's 3-1 L.A.
Good, and you're measured, too, by success coming out of the bullpen, I think, in a lot of ways, is what you have as far as inherited runners scored. To me, that's a big, big thing. You got a ground ball there, but you also have your infield in a little bit closer. Nelly was. The ball found a hole on the left side. But when Walt said, I'm talking about seeing results, I want to see what they handle situations, particularly young guys like Kyle Parker, Parker Frazier, Tyler Anderson. How do you handle these situations at times?
Juan Uribe, a strikeout and a 6-4-3 double play against Francis. And this ball is hit well to left, and it's going to get on out of here.
Wow. Tough day so far. 2 pitches, 2 hits. One of them a home run for Parker Frazier. Hanging slider to Uribe. Just left it up out over the middle of the plate.
Uribe can still do that. He is a strong man.
He is. There's no question about it. And for Parker, he got one the other day up to Kyle Sager. Another slider here that stayed right out in the middle of the plate. It's going to get out of the ballpark. Uribe with a lot of back leg drive. Got after that hanging slider from Frazier and sent it out of the ballpark. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, it's hard as a dad to sit up here and watch that and see your kid get beat up a little bit. You just got to bounce back and get after some guys.
This is Elian Herrera. And that's a good-looking pitch on the outside corner at 91.
It's an aggressive attitude more than anything that you have to take when you come out of that, when you come into a ball game like that.
Good movement there. 0-2 on Herrera. You pointed it out, and we were talking about this the other day, George. When you're a starting pitcher your whole career, and now you're making the adjustment, it's not just, okay, you're coming in with traffic all of a sudden. It's also how you warm up down there.
Oh, it's different. It's a whole different ball of wax because you may be warming up more than you normally do. You know what I mean? You may be asked to warm up more than one batter. That's a pretty good sequence here on the left-hander. A couple of fastballs at 91, elevated heater, and got him to chase it. I guess the thing is, with a starting pitcher, you have a margin of error because you've got 6 innings to work, or 7 hopefully in a ball game. As a bullpen guy, there's no margin of error. You're coming in, you either do it or you don't. And unfortunately, Parker didn't do it.
Close the book on Jeff Francis. 4 1/3 for Jeff. 4 runs, all of them earned, 7 hits, couple walks, couple strikeouts. And you'll look at that stat line tomorrow in the paper, and it
very
really very deceiving, George. He threw the ball well. And I think he just ran out of gas, quite frankly, in the 5th inning, which is about right for March 10th.
Yeah, it's about right. You're going to get a little bit tired, but I mean, he gave you 4 solid innings.
4 terrific innings. I mean, he had 36 pitches through 3 innings. Here's a 2-1 to A.J. Ellis, 2-2.
One of the hardest balls thrown that time by Frazier, 92 with the last fastball.
And Parker's another one of those guys that has bounced back nicely from Tommy John surgery. Of course, Jorge De La Rosa, who threw the ball well on Friday before the rains came. Bouncing back from Tommy John surgery.
Hey, follow the Rockies on your phone with MLB.com at Bat 13, featuring spring training updates and highlights for the rest of spring. Really like to see a hard slider here down and away. Or how about fastball in the outside corner at 90? He's going to be awfully upset with this outing because allowing those runs to score coming in, but finished up strong with a couple of punch-outs.
Absolutely. 6-1 Dodgers. Six to 1, the Dodgers 6 runs, 6 hits that 5th inning. And we'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Henry Wrigley will lead things off. Want even more Rockies baseball before the regular season begins? Catch Sunday Night Classics every Sunday night on Root Sports. Tune in this evening at 9 p.m. for this week's Rockies Classic game, Cargo's Cycle. I remember that one well. Kind of a dramatic finish to that cycle.
What was it, though? Oh. I thought the ball was still going, too, by the way.
No, it is still going. It was high enough to hit that balloon we just saw. Jeff Francis has completed his work, obviously, and this ball's on the ground to short. We're going to have an interview with Jeff in a moment. High throw, but Uribe came down on the bag. And see, we tease something and we deliver. Here's Jenny with Jeff.
You're so good, Drew. Jeff Francis' 4th outing today. Spring training a lot about working on different pitches, different things every outing. What was your game plan going into today?
Well, we all want to execute pitches. You know, we face these guys a lot, so there's no secrets as to what we're doing. So you want to try and work on the things that maybe you didn't do so well last year against them, and make sure you can execute pitches when you need to.
I saw you talking with Jimmy right before you came over here. As the new pitching coach this year for the starting rotation, what has he brought to the table coming out of the bullpen? What have you learned from Jimmy during spring training?
I've worked with Jimmy a long time. He was coordinator when I was in the minor leagues, and I've talked to him. I mean, going on 10 years now, so we kind of know each other well, and he knows what to say to get me right and to get me back on the right track if I start missing pitches by a lot. So, personally, that experience with him, I think, is valuable when he's a new pitching coach here.
Coming into the spring this year with the Colorado Rockies, you were telling me that you kind of feel like you have a little more of a verbal leadership with some of the younger guys this year. How has that connection panned out as the weeks have gone on and now that guys have gotten their starts? What has your role become?
I've tried to be more vocal. That's never been my role before. So, I think from when I left and came back last year, the clubhouse got a lot younger. So I'm a bit more of one of the experienced players. So it was a new role for me, but something that I thought a lot about in the winter and how I can use my experience to share it with other players. And really it goes both ways. A lot of the younger guys have things that I can use. And the more we talk like that, I think the better we can become as a staff.
I wanted to ask you about the growth of Willeen Rosario over this last offseason. A lot of fans wondering kind of where he is mentally behind the plate. You get to throw to him a lot every day, especially today out there on the mound. What have you seen from him in terms of improvement that he's just come back with maybe a newfound knowledge?
I think his work ethic is there. I think that's the most important thing. The fact that he's trying to get better at certain things. That's the most important thing, because if a player knows, to me, if a player knows how to work, he's going to do the best he can to get better. We're not all going to be perfect, but if we can all be out there prepared, work with each other well, which, Willeen and I have made a better effort to do that as far as our relationship on the mound and behind the plate this year. So, I've been impressed.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you a little bit about the WBC going on. You're not playing for Team Canada this year, but you were at the game yesterday, Canada against Mexico, when a fight broke out. How disappointing was it to see kind of how the reaction that game?
I was disappointed to see it escalate. I could see both sides. That Canada's trying to score runs. This is the way the tournament is scored, right? Tiebreakers. You can understand a team being upset. Not understanding the rules, maybe. I don't know. But bench is clear. Sometimes people yell at each other, maybe a bit of shoving, but it's a little scary to see people throwing big punches like that. And not something you want to see on a field very much.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for your time. And, guys, as I send it back to you, I did not grow over the course of the last couple innings here. I'm standing on a step or two. Just so you know, I know you get mad, Drew, when I get taller. So there you go.
No. I'm very happy that you seem to have grown in height. Jeff Francis, thank you very much. Culberson, the pinch hitter, Charlie Culberson, bounces into the inning-ending 3-6-3 double play. 6-1 LA. Danny Rosenbaum is the new pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies took him in the Rule 5 draft. He was unprotected out of the Washington Nationals organization. He's had success as a starting pitcher at some lower levels in the Nationals organization. Georgia college signed 22nd round pick out of Xavier University in Cincinnati a few years back.
Well, last year AA. You looked at the first half. He had an injury, a little growing thing that affected the way he pitched. He went ahead and pitched through it. Prior to that, he was throwing the ball extremely well. That's what caught the eye of Will George. one of the pro scouts for the Rockies. And when he was left off the roster, and with the Rockies needing some depth in the rotation, depth in their bullpen, it was an easy pick for him. Now, he's been pretty good in spring training so far. And the left-hander will change speeds. It'll be 86 to 89, touch 90 occasionally. Very good command of a curveball, change-up.
First pitch, ground ball, right side. And Castellanos is retired by Josh Rutledge. And that'll bring up Alfredo Amezaga. Not surprisingly, with his academic credentials from the University of British Columbia physics major, Jeff Francis very analytical in how he approaches the game and also in his evaluation of his performance.
No question. And I think he's a guy that's very realist about what he does. I think that's what helps him cope with Coors Field and understand what it takes to pitch at Coors Field.
One and one on a Mezaga. Probably going to see some similarities, Frazier, wouldn't you, between Jeff Francis's approach, at least stuff-wise, and what you see from Rosenbaum. He's not going to overwhelm you at all.
Pretty much the same thing. He'll throw the ball a little bit harder at times than Jeff. The last fastball at 86, but what he is he's a strike thrower in the bottom half of the zone.
Hitting for Kershaw is Castillo.
Yeah, a young catcher that worked, if I'm not mistaken, he was a catcher in the Rockies organization a year ago and then a 6-year minor league free agent.
Yeah, Wilkin was with the Rockies.
That's about that time of the game where you start seeing all kinds of flip switches and everything else going on.
And he may very well stay in the game, give A.J. Ellis the rest of the afternoon off. Thing with Rule 5 draft picks, the rule is you have to stay on the big league roster. It costs you $50,000 to take that player, and he has to stay on the big league roster for the entire season. Otherwise, you have to offer him back to his original club. They get him? Yes, they did. Snap throw, Willeen Rosario. Wrigley with the tag, and Amezaga is picked off first base. Great throw by Rosario. I've been impressed with how Wrigley moves around the bag at first, George.
I've been very impressed. Free agent minor league sign here, snap throw over and on the money, and then that tag was put beautifully because look where his foot was. A little bit out in front of the bag, so I don't know if felt like he had to go around the foot, but get to that backside. But nonetheless, the throw and save you get out of an inning.
And Rosenbaum, see how he fields his position, step and throw. Nice job. So a little help from his catcher. Danny Rosenbaum faces the minimum in the 6th inning. Willeen, yep, got him. 6-1 LA. Alexis look back. Rockies scratched out a run in the first inning. A little help from fielding error on Herrera, Ilian Herrera on that two-hopper. Stepter Fowler, who single, comes around. That's the only Rockies run. Clayton Kershaw got a base hit, first run allowed this year by Jeff Francis. And a little bit later on in the sixth inning, a hanging slider from Parker Frazier deposited in the left field berm by Wanaribe. A 3-run shot there. Dodgers would get 6 in that fifth inning. They are up 6-1. That's brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. This is Mark Lowe. And Dexter's going to lead things off in the 6th inning. And then I'm sure depart. Let's get some of the changes for you. There's been a number of them. I can tell you that, as we thought, Wilkin Castillo has remained in the game behind the plate. Scott Van Slyke is now at first base. Omar Luna is at second. It's a new shortstop. We got to get a name for you. This ball is in the air to left field. Brian Barden is at third base. And Jeremy Moore just made that catch in left field. Got a number on the shortstop, fellas? Talking to our truck right now. Justin Sellers is at short. All the guys on the field, George, the 9 guys out there for the Dodgers. Ooh, man, that's a bullet by Rutledge. And kick save, and it turns into an out. Lowe doesn't inadvertently get a spike on that, and he's okay. He's waving off Trainer from the dugout. They're going to come out anyhow. That's a base hit up the middle. This was sharply hit.
Very sharply hit. Trying to get out of the way, catch the backside, and recover and find the baseball. A lot of times as a pitcher, you're looking everywhere for that thing. He says he's okay. Lowe's pitched at the big league level with Seattle all the way back in 06, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Over to the Rangers in parts of 10, 11, and 12. Signed as a minor league free agent with this ball club.
Michael Kadire, 2 outs, nobody on. A fly ball center field and a walk. They have, you know what? Don Mattingly's done a complete line change, George. It's like hockey. I mean, he cleared the ice, and there's 9 new bodies out there. And if you add up all the numbers, George, you come up with 638.
638 line changes. Well, I'm looking.
No. The numbers on the back of the jerseys.
Oh, well, I'm looking in their dugout, and all I'm seeing is all coaches. I'm looking down. There's no that whole front row of their dugout was full of players prior to this inning. Now it's just coaches.
The outfield has Jeremy Moore in left, Tony Gwynn Jr. You know, Tony's a veteran. He's in center field. And the Cuban defector, who they paid a lot of money for, Yusel Puig, is out there in right field. He's a big, strong kid. That's 6'2" and 230 pounds. And that's a strike from Lowe on the outside corner. 2-2 on Michael Kadire. Second year with the Rockies. Leader on the field, leader in the clubhouse. Rockies have been out hit 9-2. And make that 9-3. Good swing from Cuddy. And Willeen Rosario will get a third at bat. George, Rockies are going to get some folks back because Venezuela, they have to play today, but they've been eliminated from the WBC, the World Baseball Classic. And Cargo will be coming back. Jolie Chassin will be coming back. Ramon Hernandez will be coming back. They'll be in camp this week. Towering fly ball. I mean, he just missed this. Tony Gwynn Jr. is going to make the catch. So Kadire left the board after the base hit. We are through 6 innings in Scottsdale, 6-1.
Back in Scottsdale, Dodgers on top of the Rockies, 6-1 as we head to the top of the 7th. Look at those Rammies out there. I knew they'd show up for me after I had to do a New Mexico Lobo cheer. The Phoenix chapter of the CSU Alumni Club. They are here in the house today. Wyoming, their Cowboy Joe Club was here on Friday, so lots of representation. Georgia, back to you.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. There's Matt Belisle, native of Austin, Texas. Led all of the big leagues last year with 80 appearances. And I think if Walt Weiss and Jim Wright and Bo McLaughlin have their way this year, we'll see Matt a little bit less.
Well, Wilton Lopez is going to help that, hopefully. And you're right. Matt's led all of Major League Baseball last 3 years combined. I think 264 appearances total, something like that, 235. Too many. I think last year that's where he got a lot of work late in games. You see the numbers there, 3.71, but at Coors Field, a 3.28 earned run average.
Well, he's so versatile, and he's never going to turn the baseball down. He's a tough guy, and he's really one of the more unheralded late-inning relievers in baseball. But, George, sometimes he was asked to get 4 or 5 outs.
Well, he was, and I think that's part of it. I think, too, the bad season kind of wore on Matt last year that the Rockies were having. Yeah, this guy wears a loss worse than a lot of people in baseball. I mean, nobody likes to lose, but it hangs with him for a while. Tough competitor is what Drew talked about. And it was a learning curve for him. I mean, he's talked about that. You know, he was a starter. He was a high draft pick out of high school. The Atlanta Braves went over to Cincinnati, got a lot of trials as a closer. I mean, as a reliever, a starter, didn't work out. The Rockies signed him as a minor league free agent. And I think he will tell you this story, that what helped him more than anything was Chuck Niffen, who had been the pitching coach of the Arizona Diamondbacks when they won a world championship, was the Rockies AAA pitching coach. And he told Matt, you're going to close. I've never closed. You're closing tonight. So now get the attitude of a closer, get the aggressiveness of a closer, and that really helped propel Matt to what he is today.
Yeah, that turned out to be a great move. Johnny Herrera, you can see, is at second base, which means that Josh Rutledge is done for the day, but not done in terms of having to converse with Jen.
That's right. We're going to make him talk to us before he's allowed to go in and get some rest for the day. How's spring training going so far? Hitting 316 coming into the game today. What has your main focus been, I should say, offensively, and then, of course, in your defensive transition over to second?
Right, yeah, offensively just come out and try to put together some good at-bats. Everybody's been kind of cold over the winter, not seeing live pitching, so just getting out here and getting at-bats against other people is good, and getting your timing down is really good. Defensively, been getting a lot of reps at second base, just getting more comfortable over there with the turns and the pivots and stuff. So that's going real well.
There was so much talk last season about what's it going to look like with Rutledge and Tulo. So from your perspective, what has it been like so far up the middle working with a guy like Troy Tulowitzki?
It's been great. I think we're really ahead of where we thought we were going to be at this point. I'm feeling very comfortable over at second base right now, so that's good, and I'm continuing to work every day on different stuff that I think I need to work on. So as of right now, I think we're doing really well working together.
We were just talking about it before we went on camera. Hard to believe that it's Josh Rutledge's first big league camp, because we saw you in a Rockies uniform for so many games last season. Has it been an interesting transition because you haven't been in the big league clubhouse, or do you just feel like such a part of this team having played so many games last year?
No, definitely. These guys they come at you with open arms. So I've felt like a part of this club since I came up last year, and that's one thing that our clubhouse brings to the table is we've got a lot of old guys that are easy to talk to. So that's good for any youngster coming up.
Besides Troy, who do you kind of buddy up with in the clubhouse? Who's the guy that you like to just talk baseball with and soak up some knowledge?
Pretty much anybody. Kadyr's one of those guys. I got a locker next to Troy and the Bean out there playing second right now. So yeah, him, all the guys.
All right, what's your focus for the next couple weeks, especially offensively as you start to get into more of a groove and pitchers start to show you a little bit more like regular season pitching that they would? What do you really want to accomplish?
Just stick to my approach. Just go up there and try to put together some good at-bats. And that's all you can ask for in spring training right now. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And continue to work on everything defensively and get as comfortable as I can before the season.
You play a lot of baseball and you're out in the sun today, so I guess we'll let you have a break now. Thanks so much for joining us, Josh. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Jenny, thank you. That is a terrific-looking young player, Josh Rutledge. Tony Gwynn Jr. battling Matt Belisle at the plate. Matt's ahead 0-2. 2 quick outs on ground balls to the Bean. Johnny Herrera is his nickname, and this is a slow roller to short. And the throw was low by LeMahieu, and Wrigley couldn't dig it out. So it'll be an infield hit for Gwynn. Tony, his biggest assets, George, the wheels.
No, there's no question it is. And again, he's finally, kind of latter part of the career, figured that out. Tough playing in the shadows of a Hall of Fame father, trying to accomplish those same things, but he has established himself, even though here is a non-roster guy with the Dodgers. Pretty good chance he could be on this ball club because of what you saw there, the speed and versatility.
This is Scott Van Slyke.
Got a taste of it last year, hit some home runs, big, strong power guy. Andy Van Slyke's son. So far this spring, 250 average.
Yeah, it's amazing because, Andy obviously was a left-handed hitter. And usually you'll see, even if the kid's right-handed, they'll flip him over so he hits from the left side. Scott hits from the right side. 6-1 LA. First matchup of the spring. Rockies and Dodgers will face off twice in spring training. Rockies will be in Glendale tomorrow to take on the White Sox. It's a real nice facility over at Camelback Ranch. Passed on the way back, George. You and I, Huey, were driving back from Tempe yesterday, past the construction site for the new Cubs spring training home.
And needed. It's needed, trust me.
Well, you played at the old one in Mesa.
Oh boy, and it's very very welcomed by everyone to get the new ballpark over there on the right-hand side, as you mentioned, driving back out of here.
There goes Tony, and that's strike 3. So a strong inning for Matt Belisle, one of the Rockies' setup men. Middle of 7, 6-1, LA. Six to 1, the Dodgers leading the Rockies. Looking to save money by using electricity wisely. Find out how the little changes add up at TogetherWeSave.com, your local Touchstone Energy cooperative, delivering reliable power, energy-saving tools, and more. Sun-drenched crowd here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. They're just thrilled they can be in short sleeves. Last couple of days, you needed a down jacket here in Scottsdale. A couple weeks ago, you needed a down jacket and mittens. Could have a snowball fight 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you brought that with you.
My fault.
And then you sent it on to Denver this weekend.
Yep.
Is it cleared up yet? Talk to home? Getting a little better?
Today it's supposed to be in the mid-60s all week, maybe touching 70 degrees. Matt Guerrero is the new pitcher, setup man for the Dodgers, and that is inside. Ball one on Chris Nelson. Guerrero, former Minnesota Twin. Dodgers have spent some money, not only in this offseason, but going back to the big trade with Hanley Ramirez from the Marlins, the big trade with the Red Sox with Adrian Gonzalez, who's playing for Team Mexico, and Josh Beckett coming, Carl Crawford. Crawford does not look like he'll be ready for opening day with, coming off the Tommy John surgery. Had a little bit of a setback.
They assumed a lot of money. They spent a lot of money, and let's win right now.
They're on the hook, George, going forward. They have commitments. This may blow some people away, for over $600 million in salaries.
It reminds me a little bit of what the Diamondbacks did a few years ago when they had all the deferred payments to Randy Johnson, Mark Grace, Matt Williams, Gonzalez. They had a bunch out there, close to $250, $300 million in deferred payments that they had to pay down the road. Some of the guys that were still out there.
And Nelly ropes one toward the gap in left center field. It's going to be cut off by Moore. A sharp, long single from Chris Nelson. So the second time Nellie's been aboard this afternoon. And see, that's an at-bat. You know, sometimes March lies a little bit, right?
Sure.
But that's an at-bat against a big league setup man, as opposed to, you know, a kid from Double-A who's just, you know, all wide-eyed and happy he's out in the middle of the diamond.
And a setup guy that throws a lot of things. It's not just sinker slider. There's a mix in there. Pretty good curveball. He's got a slider. He's got a changeup he'll work in. It's hard sinkers.
DJ LeMahieu to Puig and right, 1 out. Henry Wrigley is 1 for 2. Chris feeling more and more comfortable as a big leaguer. Boy, tore the cover off the ball towards the second half. Ended up at 301.
Feel like you belong. You know, you're not walking into the locker room every day kind of waiting on that tap on the shoulder. I think that's the biggest thing you have to overcome as a big league guy, not worrying every day and applying that pressure, because obviously there's a lot of money at stake. It's a great place to play. You're in beautiful ballparks. You're traveling in private planes and great hotels, and you don't want to ever lose that. But there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that, and, you know, you're just standing there waiting for somebody to go, the manager wants to talk to you. When that gets eliminated, the game becomes a little bit easier for you because you know I'm here.
That old line, George, that you're very familiar with. That it's really hard to get to the big leagues. It's even harder to stay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is when you get here at the big league level, you know, you feel like, hey, I've made it. And then you realize I got a lot of work to do, you know, to stay here. I think that's the biggest guy. I made 9 trips between the big leagues and minor leagues. So, I mean, that's one of those deals where you just got to keep fighting it, or you go home.
As tough as you have to be physically to play this sport every day, you have to be that much more tough mentally. Wrigley pops it up down the right field line. This one may be in play, and it was, but that's a tough opportunity for Omar Luna. He's running up on that tarp.
Well, if you still need opening day tickets, there's one way you can do this. That is by purchasing a 2013 Rockies season tickets for 15 to 25 game mini plans. Call the Rockies 303-ROCKIES or go to ColoradoRockies.com. Find out more information about the mini plans, 15 to 25 game mini plans.
Wrigley out of that very deep Tampa organization. Tony Gwynn Jr. shielding the sun with his glove.
On the Rockies bullpen right now, Joe Gardner, who has yet to throw this spring. We'll get into a little more of that. Had a battle of the flu bug. Going to make his first appearance. They've been warming up down in the bullpen as if he's coming in for Matt Belisle. Belisle worked a very good inning. Esmer Escalano would work the 9th.
Kyle Parker, a strikeout looking, and he walked in the 5th inning. Both of those at bats against Clayton Kershaw. And down the left field line, which way? Foul ball. He's quick, man. He's got quick hands. He's working on, as they say in his setup, getting a little more separation. Working hard with Dante Bichette on that yesterday. This is a strong dude.
Very strong. Yeah, it's a growing process. I mean, there's a lot of times that you're able to work through things and actually get by and get by with some natural ability because of the level you're at. Now, all of a sudden, you start to get to Tulsa and on up at higher levels, things get a little harder. One thing he does have, tons of power. A young man in the on-deck circle, too, Corey Dickerson, a very good year last year at Modesto to Tulsa.
He can hit.
He can really hit.
Parker, George, last year in Modesto, 23 home runs, 73 ribbies. He hit .308.
Missed a lot of time, too, with a wrist injury.
Yeah, 23 home runs, as George points out, in just 390 at bats. What does he do when he gets 550 at bats?
Exactly.
#1 pick for the Rockies, 26th overall in the 2010 draft out of Clemson. I was talking to him today, George, about the NFL and what opportunities he felt he would have, and he's a confident kid. And, his really good friend Russell Wilson, they were roommates in Asheville, and they keep in close contact, and Russell's become a quick superstar in the NFL. He's opened some doors because he's an undersized quarterback height-wise. This ball's driven to deep center field. Gwynn going back, and oh, what a catch! Tony Gwynn Jr. over 400 feet from home plate robs Kyle Parker. And he ran almost full tilt into that wall. What a grab by Gwynn.
At Salt River Fields, Dodgers up 6 over the Rockies. Let's check in with Matt Bull. Describes the game of baseball with all 5 senses.
It starts even earlier than that. I think when you come to the park before the people are there, walking the tunnel to get ready for BP, hearing cleats click and clack on the cement. I've always loved that. It always reminds me of The Natural, too, in the movie. But I love the sound of cleats. There is a smell of the cut grass. I think as summer approaches and it does warm up, things really hit home to me there. Just thinking how much I loved working on baseball as a kid in the summers and just being out there and sweating and just getting dirty. As the game approaches, they kind of joke about it, but you can. Sort of the buzz of the crowd, the smells, the beer, the barbecue, the popcorn. I think also, from where I sit in that bullpen in most of these stadiums, just the visual, just looking at it going, if I was low with a wide shot lens right here, this would be a postcard.
That absolutely gave me goosebumps to listen to Matt Belisle describing baseball. Seriously. And now I get to stand with him. Do you remember some of those things you said? I feel like that's this kind of day today. Sun's out, fans are here, it's packed, it's perfect. Is that how you felt when you took the mound today?
I felt that, I think, when I came out after the anthem. I'll be honest. It was a good day. We had a full crowd. And it's a gorgeous spring training day. And I get pretty fired up pretty easily. So it was a good one.
Catch us up. What are some of the things that you've been working on personally during spring training? You had your 5th outing here today. What are some of the things you really want to hone in on?
Just the fundamentals of that downward plane. I want to hone just pounding the strike zone with good tilt down in the zone and the changeup. I really want to use that as a weapon this season, and I'm trying to implement it in the right situations out there.
When you look at last year, played in 80 games, pitched 80 innings, does that take a wear on your body, and do you not really realize it until you're deep into the offseason and you kind of start to think back on everything you did?
I try not to think back, to be honest. I try to just think forward. I love pitching, and I love to get the calls, so I sure hope I can continue to get that amount of work in, because that's what I'm paid to do, and I just try to take care of myself so I can keep doing it.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt, so much for your time. We appreciate it. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Jenny. Tim Wheeler making that catch in center field. Joe Gardner's on the hill. George, you know Joe well.
Very well at Fremont, California. At school at UC Santa Barbara. Third-round draft pick by the Cleveland Indians. Starter reliever, heavy sink, good changeup, got a decent slider at times. The sinker's probably his biggest outpitch. Got a very good outpitch with the sinker. Get the ball on the ground at 28 ball games last year in Tulsa. Earned run average under 4, 138 innings. Doesn't walk a lot of people. Gets a lot of early outs. When he gets in trouble, it's just when he gets elevated, like a lot of pitchers. But because of his awkward low three-quarter, not really awkward, but a low three-quarter delivery that if it starts to get elevated, flattens out with less velocity, becomes very hittable. But when he's down, it's nasty. I mean, it's a good hard sinker to go along with probably an average to a little bit above average changeup. There's a lot of moving parts there that he's able to keep it going and keep it in the right direction. He can get some outs, and he has a 1-2-3 inning here, his first of the spring.
That's Yusel Puig, the Cuban defector who they spent more than $40 million on, who grounded out. Dodgers 6, Rockies 1. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning with George Frazier and Jenny Cavnar. I'm Drew Goodman. Peter Moylan is now on the hill for the Dodgers. Hey, are you using social media like Frazier? If so, follow Root Sports on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with your favorite team all season long.
What am I doing? Am I Twittering?
Yeah, I'll explain that to you later.
All right.
We don't have enough time on there.
I got you. Peter Moylan, the right-hander for the Dodgers, going to come into this ball game. A guy that pitched a long time with Atlanta, low three-quarter, sidearm guy, trying to make this ball club. He's a long to middle relief guy for Don Mattingly's team. First, maybe the one area they need a little bit of a boost into is that bullpen side at the very beginning of the bullpen to shut down the mess and try to keep it going.
Corey Dickerson, George, is going to lead off, and Corey can flat hit.
He's been impressive. There's no question about it. There's Moylan last year with Atlanta, 8 ball games, hurt, but did a nice job there, 180 earned run average. Last year when Corey came to Tulsa after being red hot at Modesto, came up, started out fairly hard, had a little slump, but this kid can hit. He works at it extremely well. He understands the science of hitting.
He's from Macomb, Mississippi. 8th round pick in 2010 out of Meridian Community College in Mississippi.
His wife works as a school teacher. Corey drafted by Damon Iannelli, who still has part of an area, but now is a cross-checker in the Midwest.
Yeah,
the Rockies.
He's now a cross-checker, and Damon has signed a lot of Rockies through the years, a lot of prominent Rockies working in that southeast region. Last year, Corey in Modesto, George was talking about, he got called up. 60 games in Modesto, he hit .338 with 9 home runs. He moved on to Tulsa, solid numbers in the Texas League, .274, 13 more home runs.
Came up with some really big hits to win ball games. One area that he needs to improve on and has is playing in the outfield. It's getting reads, making the throws. I think he's an average thrower, maybe a little bit above. He runs plenty good to play left field. But it's about taking routes and angles, recognizing the ball off. And from what I saw at the beginning in Tulsa last year to the end of Tulsa, it improved a bunch just in that short span.
You know, the ground was pretty wet yesterday with all the rain down here, and he was out in left field late in the ball game against the Angels at Tempe Diablo, and he slipped down. But fortunately, the ball, on his backside, he still caught the baseball.
He probably got his picture on maybe that other network for a little bit, where he's making one of those great top 10 catches. So yesterday, you asked for it, we'll show it to you. Hard line drive, break back. Whoa, where am I going? I had it the whole way.
Corey back in Asheville in the Sally League, .282 average, 32 home runs. And look at this. On cue, he rips a line drive to right. Tearing around the bag, George, you're talking about his wheels. He's looking to turn it into a double.
Not a smart play, though, when you're down 6-1. A leadoff single like that to get thrown out at second base. Perfect relay throw by everybody in the outfield. Strong throw from right field right into second, and a perfect snap throw to short. He got over awfully quick. Decision made by runner only. You can see him cut that corner pretty quick. Bang, bang play. Out at second base.
9-4-6. Tim Wheeler's going to get his first at bat here. And Wheeler's a guy with a lot of pop. Now, he wasn't able to demonstrate it last year, George, at Colorado Springs, because he was playing through an injury that really prevented him to drive the ball.
33 home runs in Tulsa the previous year, but just 2 home runs last year in Colorado Springs. Drew mentioned the injury to the hand.
This game brought to you in part by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. You can do some things in spring training, going back to that play by Corey Dickerson. Down 5 runs, you got to play it station to station late in the ball game. Well, you're trying to get noticed. And you don't want to get noticed for the wrong things, but, his hustle and the ability to run maybe better than whatever scouting report said. You show a manager and all the eyes, not only in the dugout, but watching from maybe the sun deck outside the Rockies' 3rd floor offices, a little faster than we had them down for.
The other side of it, too, you look at it as a player, you always do. They've got to make 2 or 3 good throws and catches to get me. And the Dodgers happen to do it.
Here comes the Bean, Johnny Herrera, one of the most popular Rockies amongst his teammates. Nothing phases Johnny. First spring training game, 3 hits.
Always. It seems like every spring he either hits between 600 and 800.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Last year, 262, battled a couple of injuries.
Johnny, another one of those guys that's been raised as a Rocky. He brings a great attitude and a smile to the ballpark every day. Quite a battle for those utility spots, George, in the infield.
A lot of middle infielders. A lot of middle infielders.
And we haven't talked about
and
him.
That's not a bad problem to have.
We haven't talked about him. Jenny talked with him earlier, Jordan Pacheco. Jordan caught in the game yesterday. Jordan was 5th, folks, in the National League in hitting last year. Moylan was a nice play. And, you know, he's going to have to move all over the place to get his at-bat. We're talking about a guy who was 5th in hitting in the NL at 309 last year. 6-1. All of the Dodgers' runs came in a 6-run, 6-hit 5th inning. Rockies got an unearned run back in the 1st. Clayton Kershaw pitched very well for Los Angeles. Jeff Francis' first 4 innings were terrific. Kind of ran out of gas in the 5th inning. Edgmer Escalona will pitch for the Rockies here in the 9th inning. That's what he did at the big league level last year.
22 2/3, 21 hits. 21 strikeouts. He can do that. One thing kind of jumped out at me there is the home runs. 5 and 22 in a 2/3 innings. Normally a hard thrower. He'll run the ball 92, 95 when he's on top, and really good downward plane. It is a difficult ball to hit.
This is Jeremy Moore. Georgie, I knew it was going to happen.
What's that, buddy?
The gentleman on deck, number 89.
You don't know who he is?
No, he's not listed anywhere. They got 600 numbers listed, but not 89.
Yeah, somebody picked up over at minor league camp. They brought over today to play in this game against the Rockies.
We're being told that this is Corey Seager. We don't know if we can verify that information, but we're going to go with it. Mr. and Mrs. Seager, if you're looking in, call 303. George, what's the rest of your number?
808. You want me to keep going?
No, you're good.
What number did you say?
He's not on my list. Trust
There's another list
you
here.
got another list. Is that Corey Seager?
I'm looking. Hold on.
It's going to be up on the scoreboard soon, hopefully. They still have Peter Moylan hitting. I guarantee this isn't Peter Moylan.
Corey Seager.
George, nice job.
Non-roster invitee. It's right here on that sheet they gave us.
Look at my sheet. He's not on there.
Came over from minor league camp. Of course, the media guide that we have is just for spring training. It doesn't list all the minor league guys, so it's very difficult to find them.
Slider movement, but 91. And this is the first big league spring at bat for Corey Seager. There's Donnie Baseball.
You know, they make so much about his contract and his status. I think they'll get something spread out and taken care of within of what they want to do by the All-Star break.
Well, you know, there's a lot of pressure there, George, because of all the money that's been spent, the new ownership group, the trades that they allowed Ned Colletti to make, and the big contracts taken on. That, you know, and Magic Johnson, who's used to championships, obviously, as a player with the Lakers, and now he's part of that ownership group. And oh gosh, did that hit him, George?
No, but Sellers is like, which way did I turn? That ball had hit and gone out of the screen.
Well, that'll loosen you up.
And Donnie ducked behind the screen too. Donnie was up leaning, watching everything. All of a sudden, he said, "I think I'll get back here too."
But you know, Magic's come out and said, you know, it's World Series, World Championship or bust, and you know, Stan Casson, the new president, talking about, you know, getting a dynasty going. You got to win a championship, you know, before you talk about that.
Exactly.
I think it is good for baseball, though. I think it's good for baseball when the Yankees are relevant. I think it's good for baseball when the Dodgers are relevant, and it makes it difficult if you're the Rockies playing in the same division. You got to go out there and beat them. But the Dodgers are in an arms race, I think, spending-wise, with Artie Moreno and the Angels in that market and all the moves that Jerry DiPoto, their general manager, has been allowed to do.
A lot of cash flow into Southern California.
Ton of it. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees were conspicuous by how quiet they were the last couple of years. It's a nice play by Corey Dickerson. Got a good read on the baseball. Got a rip uni, too. Have to go see Keith Schultz later and see if he can get a new pair of pants.
That is a red hot. That is hurting right now. Better believe it. Nice break, comes in, able to read it. I love guys that be able to slide catch versus head first slide and dive. You see a lot of shoulders get hurt that way.
Nice play.
Very nice play.
Two outs.
2 plays 2 days in a row in the seat of his pants.
That's right.
The other one was more fun.
Yeah, one by design, one not so much.
Right. The other one I like better.
Escalona with a slider for a strike on Justin Sellers. Escalona's got a big arm.
Yeah, the biggest thing for him has been getting the opportunity consistently. You know, at the end of the 11 season, he came up and did a really nice job of throwing multiple innings, 2 and 3 innings at a time when a game was out of line.
This ball is well hit to left, and Dickerson gets back there and makes the play. So Escalona works a 1-2-3 ninth inning. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. The Rockies down 6-1. Today's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. Visit jimmyjohns.com to find a location near you. Jeff Francis worked into the 5th inning. The first 4 were beautiful. Now the line won't look so pretty because he ran out of gas in the 5th inning a little bit, but the first 4 were typical Jeff Francis. A lot of quick outs on the ground and miss-hit fly balls. Jeff Francis now has worked 13 in the 3rd innings this spring, and it took to his 14th inning of work to give up a run. So he's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Juan Abreu will throw the final inning for the Dodgers. 42 games last year in the minor leagues. 59 strikeouts in 49 innings is what you kind of look at there. A high ERA, but the league hit just .231 against him. You see that a lot of times with developing pitchers. You got to look beyond ERA and say, okay, well, he strikes out way more than a hitter in innings. So he's got good stuff. And the opposition hit just .231 against him. Another indication that he's got good stuff. And now, okay, what kind of polish can we put on him?
Well, and where can where does he fit? Where do you think he fits? Is he a closer? Is he a setup man? I still think when I go back and look at Craig Kimbrell, I saw him in Rome, Georgia in 2009. This young man was closing for the Rome Braves there. And you saw the 92 to 98 and a hard slider for strikes. It's not just getting accustomed to your stuff and commanding it, but commanding it in a very important part of the game, the 9th.
Kent Mathis at the plate. 2-strike count on Mathis, and that slider was dirty on the outside corner.
You haven't seen a young guy who's out here firing at 90, 94 miles an hour, and he snaps off a slow hook on you.
Gustavo Molina came in to catch. Will get his first at bat. Molina has been in the big leagues with the White Sox, briefly with Baltimore, the Mets, Boston, the Yankees. Back in 2011, he had 6 at-bats with the Yankees. Last year, he was in the Yankees organization at the AAA level.
Veteran guy that you have to have around for if there is an injury at the big league level.
And we don't talk a lot about it, certainly, George, during the regular season, but there's a lot of these guys like Gustavo, who primarily play in AAA. They're into their early 30s. And, they're probably never going to make the big dollars. They're never going to stick in the big leagues maybe for a long period of time, but they keep playing, keep pursuing their dream, and they're making a living in the summer months.
Well, as you progress farther along in your career and you get a little bit of big league time, you can make a decent living playing in AAA. I mean, you make $60,000 to $80,000 a year playing in AAA as a backup for an everyday guy. And if somebody gets hurt, you get a little bit of time in the big leagues. And you know what? When you're 45 years old and it's retirement time to collect it in baseball, you get a year and a half, 2 years. It's nice getting that money coming in. There's so much more involved in it. It's the insurance. It's the licensing checks. It's everything that you play the game, not only for the ring, but for these guys hanging around like this. That big league insurance is a big, big deal.
.97, so he can run it up there, huh?
I think that's what got Mathis when he threw it up to 95, 96, and then flipped that little slider in there, that curveball for strike 3 at 80 miles an hour. Big variance in velocity. Another heater, this one at 94, a little lower 3/4. And Slyke will make the play at first base.
And the Rockies down to their final out. Ryan Wheeler, he came from the Arizona Diamondbacks in the Matt Reynolds offseason deal.
A lot of power. Big time power. A guy that can play first and third. I watched him play in the Fall League a couple of years ago. And did a really nice job there in the Fall League when he was at Diamondbacks. Came up, last 30 days of the season last year. Used him as a pinch hitter off the bench a few times.
And he takes a strike at 95. There's a slider that's up a little bit, 1-1. Center field, Tony Gwynn waiting, and that's the ball game. The Rockies and Dodgers will meet 18 times during the regular season, and here on March the 10th in front of an overflow crowd, a sellout of more than 12,280. The Rockies fall 6-1 to the Dodgers. Well, the thought I'm sure that Walt Weiss will take away from this ball game is that at least into the 5th inning, Jeff Francis was very, very good.
Yeah, Jeff Francis was really, really good and did a nice job. Parker came in and gave up the 3-run home run. In the normal midseason form, Jeff probably finishes that inning, maybe more, to try to keep it where it was. He walked out down 2-1, and things blew up after that. But Jeff was good today. I was impressed with that part of it. Some guys took some pretty good swings early. Kadire took a couple of pretty good swings. But all in all, it's the first good weather day you've had in quite a while. So that part was nice that you're able to work this ball game and work it the way you did and come out of this thing injury-free.
So once again, the Dodgers beat the Rockies this afternoon 6-1. As always, we're glad that you joined us today. We will be back here in Scottsdale in a couple of weeks to bring you some more spring training action. They're the two biggest hitting coaches, by the way, in baseball, Dante Bichette and Mark McGuire. So a reminder, we'll be on the air March 24th when the Rockies take on the Milwaukee Brewers in Maryvale. For George Frazier, Jenny Kavnar, and our entire crew, Drew Goodman saying so long from Scottsdale. Talk to you soon.